Kingdom Hearts is a series about love, friendship, good versus evil, and light prevailing in the dark.
Sounds simple? What about soul possession, human experimentation, and the end of times? The rumors are true. It's deeper than you think. I'm Mel.
And I'm Hannah. And we are the hosts of the podcast Shedding Starlight, a guide to the Kingdom Hearts mythos. If you've ever played the Kingdom Hearts games and wanted to dive deeper into the story, this podcast is for you.
Shedding Starlight lays out all of the world building, hidden concepts, and character motivations that the games hid between the lines. Shedding Starlight is coming soon, for free, on your favorite podcast platform. This video will discuss how Daybreak Town was digitally recorded during most of Key, and how an Unchained Key, that recording is played back and projected outwards like a giant hologram. Daybreak Town versus Disney Worlds. In the video How the Keyblade War Changed the World, we cover how, after the war, the projections of future Disney worlds that were once pulled from the Book of Prophecies are now digital copies. But this doesn't work for Daybreak Town itself. Since it gets destroyed at the end of Union Cross, its future projection could only be either its underwater ruins or Scala ad Caelum. So Data Daybreak Town is not from the Book of Prophecies at all. Instead, the real version was recorded for a long time before the war, like 3D footage of rooms, streets, and people. This is why there are holograms of Ava with the Master of Masters and Strelitzia with her Chirithy. While the Data Disney worlds are the distant futures, Data Daybreak Town is its recent past. Data worlds and projections. When it comes to created worlds, there seems to be two major factors that define them. Whether the world is made up of magic or data, and whether the world takes place inside or outside its host, which could be a computer, book, music sheet, video game, whatever. Here are some examples. To help comprehend data worlds outside their host, I believe the area is scanned and digitized, and that digital model is projected outwards and aligned either close to or overlapping the real area. This would explain two weird events. The first being way back in Kingdom Hearts 2, when Chip sees two Twilight Towns, and it's fuzzy on the world map due to, I assume, the Data Twilight Town phasing in and out of visibility. The second is when Ephemer and Skuld arrive in the real world. I believe we're seeing the Data Daybreak Town phasing in and out of visibility, just like Data Twilight Town. We assume that if Union Cross's data worlds are all within the computer of the real control room, then the monitors act like a game window to a PC video game. But if the data worlds are projected outside the computer, then I would compare these monitors to security cameras, visuals of other spaces. With the virtual control room, I highly doubt the monitors are windows to another system of data worlds within this one. So rather, they only act as security cameras to this one system. The Keyblade Graveyard in Union Cross. One might ask if the Keyblade Graveyard the Union leaders meet at is real, not data, since Brain ponders if the Dandelions started off in the real world after the war, and then eventually got trapped in Data Daybreak Town. But I believe Brain was incorrect, since he's been wrong about a couple of other things too, and that post-war, they were always in Data Worlds, including this Keyblade Graveyard. I suspect the Data Keyblade Graveyard to be like the Disney Worlds, a future version from the Book of Prophecies converted into Data, rather than recorded from its past like Data Daybreak Town. After all, in modern games, the Keyblade Graveyard is its own separate world, not one joined with Skull-eyed Kylum. And this explains why even though Union Cross's repetition stopped before the Keyblade War, the graveyard itself still exists. Basically, I think we're looking at the graveyard during Birth by Sleep to Kingdom Hearts 3. World lines. While I also believe the term world line may refer to reality versus the world outside it, most of the time Luxu uses the word, I believe he's simply referring to these data worlds of Union Cross. A world line with no Keyblade War is Data Daybreak Town diverging before the war starts. Here, Luxu is talking about how true darkness found its way into Data Daybreak Town. A reckless plot to allow the Five to escape to another world line refers to whoever connected Data Daybreak Town to Game Central Station in what I believe was in hopes that the Dandelions would escape Data Daybreak Town's inevitable deletion. The same trick that allowed the Dandelions to transfer to other world lines after the Keyblade War being the gate that opens to the Game Central Station, since it's the same gate system the Dandelions use to traverse all of Union Cross's data worlds. Unchained Key compared to Key. This section is about understanding how exactly Unchained Key differs from Key in terms of story. The flashback conclusion. There are a lot of fans who understandably believe that the original Key's Daybreak Town events only happen once, and that in Unchained Key, these same scenes are simply flashbacks. Only the Keyblade War itself was forgotten. So the Dandelions retrained in new Data Disney Worlds not previously in Key, and the current Union Cross scenes take place in the Data Daybreak Town. However, the more research I've done, the more I disagree with this conclusion. Here's what I believe is happening. The data repetition conclusion. First, the key events happen organically, but all of these memories are forgotten, not just the war. So they're all repeated in Unchained Key as digital projections except for the war. For example, when player is looking for Ava early in Unchained Key, some of the Keyblade wielders we talk to are actually data repetitions, since they already died in the war. And while player interacts with Ephemer and Skuld's data repetitions to relearn Keyblade training from the ground up, those two are actually having meetings in the tower. So another example, in this Unchained Key scene, Ava and Skuld are digital projections. Only player and our Chirithy are real. And then, the rest of the new Union Cross scenes still take place in Data Daybreak Town and the other Data Disney Worlds. So, how are we supposed to come to this conclusion? While the line in English is vague, in Japanese, Ava directly states this to Ephemer. There, I will have you experience the same things you did here, but that world will go on, this time without total annihilation in its future. In both Japanese and English, Ephemer tells Skuld he gets nervous every time something happens in this world that didn't happen in the other one. One event that occurs in Unchained Key, but not the original Key, is befriending the standoffish Keyblade wielder before meeting Skuld. This is new, because this guy is probably a Dandelion, since he later befriends us, who's from a different union, something non-Dandelions would never do. The title cards of Key and Unchained Key also hint that they're two different events. In Key, after Alva speaks to Ephemer at the fountain, we see Key's title card, while in Unchained Key, we see Unchained Key's title card. But in Union Cross's Keyblade War event, we get the title card for the original Key's final episode. I believe this implies Union Cross's Keyblade War is only flashbacks to Key, while the scene of Alva and Ephemer in Unchained Key is an actual repetition. Even the projections of Alva with the Master and Strelitzia's death are these digital repetitions, only these were never meant to be seen, since they occur before and after Unchained Key's playback respectively. They only appear because Data Daybreak Town starts glitching. Now, since Unchained Key's Data Ephemer wouldn't be able to visit Player's Dream, and Data Alva couldn't actually train the Dandelions in the Realm of Dreams since they're all trapped in Data, it's possible that Chirithy's recreated dreams Player and the Dandelions already had during Key. Thanks to Alpha Oblivion 7 for pointing this out. Data repetition conclusion: accessing people's data. However, some people are understandably skeptical of a data repetition because the Union leaders never tried to ask the data versions of the Masters for guidance. But I don't think the Union leaders knew that was an option, since Lauriam said he wasn't able to find people's data when he searched for Strelitzia, and the Union leaders don't realize it's possible to extract people's code in this way until it's too late. But if the Union leaders had a whole meeting about Shift Pride, where the Dandelions fight data versions of each other for sport, how could they not access that data? This is still an unconfirmed theory, but I personally believe the one present for this meeting was Brain's imposter, and this person coded Shift Pride alone. And Lauriam being absent for this meeting would explain why he had trouble finding people's data. So, it's possible Unchained Key is still data of the original Key, and the Union leaders just don't know how to extract that data. So, to reiterate, under this conclusion, all of the original Key's events happen in the real world. Afterwards, in a digital world, the Dandelions and Player interact with fake playbacks of those events. The playbacks stop right before the war would occur, and instead, brand new events happen, like Player visiting new worlds which were not at all in the original Key. Now, in all honesty, I don't care which conclusion people believe, because I don't think it matters unless it becomes relevant again in a future title. That said, the rest of this video series will be based on the data repetition conclusion. The Foretellers retiring in Union Cross. In Union Cross, the Dandelions were at ease with the Foretellers' absence for a few reasons. 1. From the Dandelions' point of view, the war the Foretellers warned about never happened. 2. There was an official announcement on new Union leaders replacing the Foretellers, as if they just retired. 3. And instead of being competitive, the new Union leaders encouraged working together with friends. We never see this announcement on screen, so it's easy to assume data versions of the Foretellers did it. But like we discussed earlier, the Union leaders were mostly ignorant about this data, so it's unlikely data Foretellers were present, and instead, either the new Union leaders made the announcement themselves, or the Chirithys told their individual wielders. Summary. Once again, the major points we learned were how all Union Cross data worlds may be projected outside the computer hosting them, how Daybreak Town is the only Union Cross data world that is a recording of its past, rather than a projection of its future like the others, and how Unchained Key is the digital playback of that recording. In the future, we'll discuss Wreck-It Ralph's world, more on the imposter's possible involvement with Daybreak Town's data, and if Union Cross's data worlds actually take place outside reality. But we're not ready for that yet. For now, I hope this video in general helped you understand Union Cross's data worlds.